Hello folks, welcome back to my channel. I am back with another transition update and chat. I know, I literally just did one last month, but we're doing another one. So last month I posted a video about adding finasteride into my HRT as far as transition medication goals, and also talking a little bit about considering top surgery. And I touched a little bit in that video on wanting a slower transition, but I didn't really go super in depth about that concept. And I got a couple messages after that video from people talking to me about that, and it made me want to sit down and discuss why. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm sitting in front of my vanity and I can see my cats in the mirror and they're cleaning each other and it's really cute. But I wanted to talk a little bit about my decision to very intentionally have a much slower transition progress and why that's what's right for me. And this really struck me after some of the messages I got after my last video, where people, primarily non-binary folks, but a couple binary trans folks messaged me and were like, it is so refreshing to hear someone talk about an intentionally slow transition, because so much of the information I see online is all about people who speed run transitioning or want to transition that quickly. And when we look at popular media surrounding trans folks, I mean, Elliot Page came out and got top surgery basically right away. Dylan Mulvaney, whom I love, was able to get FFS within close to her first year of transitioning. It's a lot of content targeted towards these very fast, very quick, very rapid transitions. And if that is how you want to transition, if that is how your transition is going to look, that is amazing. That is incredible. That is perfect for you. I do not want my transition to look like that. I want a slower transition. I started on low-dose testosterone and have remained on low-dose testosterone now 9 months or something, or 10 months, I think. We're getting really close to the year mark. And then I slowed that down even further by adding finasteride into the mix, which is great because it's helping prevent hair loss, but also great because it kind of helps me slow down my transition and have a little bit more control over things. And for me, the pace of my transition is definitely deeply interlinked with the fact that I am non-binary, so my goal is not to finish this looking like a man or looking like a woman. I am looking for something a little bit more gender fluid, a little bit more androgynous, that just fits a little bit more with my gender identity. And part of that for me has been having a much slower, more controlled transition. If I were taking full dose testosterone, I would absolutely at this point have a deeper voice and more bottom growth and more facial hair and more body hair. And those are all things that I'm excited about in the eventual, but I'm pretty happy right now taking things really slow. And even though we're coming up on a year on T, I have some body hair growth, but not a lot. I think my voice has dropped a little bit, but not a ton. There's been some body recomposition, but not too terribly much. I'm definitely seeing it more now than I did previously, but it's still, we're still working on it. But as someone who's non-binary and looking for something more androgynous, one of the things that was a struggle for me when I was beginning to consider medically transitioning was not wanting to end up looking completely male or masculine, because that wasn't my goal. I didn't want to pass as a man. I really wanted, honestly, the goal is just for someone to look at me and be like, what are you? I want people to look at me and not be sure what gender and just kind of have to hazard a guess. That's the goal. And I've talked about this on my channel before, but I think a lot of non-binary folks struggle with not feeling trans enough, especially when it comes to medically transitioning. And for me, a large part of that was the fact that I didn't want a super fast transition. I wanted to take my time with it. I wanted to feel like I had a little bit more control over my changes. I wanted to go slowly and really monitor the changes as they came, because I knew, and I still know, I'll reach a point where I'm satisfied with the changes I've had and I'll probably stop taking testosterone. I'll probably take multiple breaks and go on and off testosterone throughout my life. As my changes happen, I take breaks. Some things regress, some things stay the same, then I go back on. For me, Not this like clear delineated finish line that I'm sprinting for of like passing as a man or a woman or top and bottom surgery. I don't even have like a clear finish line for my medical transition. For me, I kind of love the fact that my body is always going to be in a transient, growing, and changing state. There's been something really freeing about removing goals, because I've also struggled with an eating disorder, so I know what it is to have this like clear finish line in your brain of this goal you want for your body, and that has always made me feel like my body's never good enough. Especially because once you hit the goal, you set a new one. Oh, you started HRT, now you want to be on it for a year. Oh, you've been on it for a year, now I want top surgery. Oh, now I've had top surgery, now I want bottom surgery. There's always a new goalpost that I have to be hitting. And it leads to me just never feeling 100% secure and satisfied in my body. And I've dealt with that with food and weight and body image for basically my whole life. And I did not want to deal with that again for my transition. And slowly transitioning has really allowed me to embrace my body as this constantly ever-changing thing. I no longer feel bad on a day when my body is bloated or feels bigger. I no longer feel guilty on a day where I feel like my voice doesn't sound as masculine. I just kind of accept that my body is this ever-changing thing, and exactly how my body looks today, exactly how my body has showed up today, is how my body is supposed to be today. And that's not going to look the same as how it looks a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, or 10 weeks from now. And that's okay. On a very concrete side, slowly transitioning gives me a lot of control over the changes that are happening. And as someone whose goal is landing somewhere in the middle rather on either end, I really like having that control and being able to really monitor my changes and just kind of take them at my own pace. I'm also not in any rush because I don't have this clear goalpost in mind. So it's not like I have this attainable, realistic goal that I'm looking for. I'm just kind of letting my body show up as it's going to show up, letting my body change as it's going to change. And right now, all of those changes feel right. In the eventuality where some of those changes start feeling wrong or uncomfortable, I'll revisit what I'm doing. Hence why I added finasteride into my medication regimen, because I wanted to slow some things down and have a little bit more control. But really, slowly transitioning has just helped me feel so much more comfortable and at home in my body, and so much more accepting of my body as this transient, ever-changing thing. And, I'd almost kind of compare it to ear stretching, if I had to, where I think so many people get laser focused on the destination that they don't realize that it should be about the journey. And that was me. That was me when I was younger and stretching my ears and just sprinting for 1.5 inches. And I've said it a bunch, but I miss stretching. I wish I had slowed down and appreciated that process and that journey and that experience more, and what it taught me about being in my body, and what it taught me about respecting and listening to my body, and what it taught me about patience. And I wouldn't say that I call it a regret, but I definitely wish I spent more time on stretching my ears, but that did teach me a lot of patience, and it taught me to be very in tune and very connected with my body as it changes. And my transition feels in a way like an emotional successor to that, in that I've learned those lessons through stretching. Even though I stretched safely, I still was like one track mind on that goal. And I've learned to not set those goals for myself and let the destination be the journey, and enjoy the transitioning part of being trans. I am enjoying finding a new area of hair every couple of months, or hearing my voice crack randomly months into this, or noticing very slow, subtle changes to my face and my body that are just happening over time. And trying to appreciate my body as it's taking me along this journey every step of the way. And I, of course, have to acknowledge that I wouldn't be able to do this without my amazing healthcare team over at Plume. Like I said, it was very intimidating for me to decide on a slower transition, especially when I think so much media in the trans community kind of pushes this super fast transition narrative. But Everyone on my team at Plume has been amazing. I cannot thank my doctor enough for listening to what I have said about being non-binary and wanting a slower transition and more control over what I'm doing. And she's been great. Every time I get my testosterone levels tested and get my blood tested, she checks in and lets me know where my level's at. They've been great so far, and she's always let me know, we have room to go up if you'd like to increase your dosage, but you do not have to. And if you're comfortable with your dosage where it is and with the changes you're getting, we can absolutely leave it here. I've never once felt invalidated for wanting a slower transition, and while the option has always been left open to me to increase my dosages or transition faster, I've never felt like it was something I had to do. And I've really appreciated the way my team has worked with me on these different slower goals and really held space for me to want these things. So shout out to Plume, shout out to my team, especially Sochi. Everyone there is so incredible and makes this whole process of transitioning just a much better, much easier one. They are also this video's sponsor. They're so great if you're looking for online gender-affirming healthcare, especially if you're someone who's non-binary and maybe this like strict timeline of maybe the strict timeline of transitioning isn't for you. Plume is doing a lot of work to do more outreach within the non-binary community and offer more resources for non-binary trans folks to medically transition, and they're just great. I've loved every minute of working with them. What really struck me the most about the messages that I got after my last video was the amount of people who were thanking me for being open about wanting a slower transition simply because that's not the narrative they see. So I hope if you are watching this video and if you are trans and you're considering transitioning, but you're not sure what medical changes you do or don't want, you're not sure if it's right for you, I am here to tell you, you can take your transition at whatever pace you want to. And that might look like a super fast transition at high doses and getting surgeries as soon as you safely can. But it also might look like spending a few years taking low-dose HRT and seeing the results other people see in a couple of months over the course of those years. It may look like taking a nice long time to think about surgery before you decide if it's right for you. It may look like going on hormones and then stopping them for a while, and then starting them again, and then stopping them again. It can look like whatever is right for you with your transition and your body and your goals. But if there's one piece of advice I could give anyone, it would be to enjoy the magic and the transformation of transitioning, because there is something so incredible about taking part and having a hand in your own creation and in sculpting your own body and your own form you live in, whether that is body modification, whether it's transitioning, whether it's plastic surgery. I think that is literal magic, and regardless of what your goals are or how quickly you're looking to transition, I hope that you can find it in yourself to appreciate and love your body for going on this journey with you and for all of the changes that it goes through in whatever timeline that takes. But that is my little slow transition update, and yeah, we're like 2 months in on finasteride. Loving it. Definitely really enjoying the way it pairs with my testosterone. I feel like this is so far the right medication balance for me, and I'm all about it. And yeah, I'm excited to continue sharing more of my transition with y'all, and I'm excited to see the comments on this video and some representation for slow transitions. As per usual, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I can't wait to sit down and hang out and chat again soon. Bye!